That's super loud. Okay. I always forget to turn that down because I turn it back up when I mix it. Oh, yeah, it's an old story. I've heard it before a million times. Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
And by guys, I mean the whole
damn world.
Whole damn world, apparently. Wow. We are back. It's been 13 days, 14 days, 2 weeks, 2 entire weeks. We shouldn't have left you without a dope cast to step to. It's Woke with Kids, episode 106. Can you believe it?
I can.
You can believe it. You feel it. You feel it.
Sometimes. And if for some reason this is your first time tuning in to Woke with Kids,
it's possible.
I am Melissa.
And I'm Inyaze. And
go ahead.
And we're married. That's all I got. And we're an artsy-fartsy couple living in Los Angeles, and we got kids, and we care about things, and we live in the world, and our president's a Cheeto, and we find that to be as obnoxious as the rest of you probably do. So instead of curling up into a fetal ball of existential dread, occasionally we hop on the airwaves, and we talk about our feelings. We find a little safe space on the internet, and we hope that you find a little safe space with us. And yeah, that's Woke with Kids, guys. So, not too much further ado. Actually, yeah.
Tonight, I was saying I was going to do the podcast, and Langston said, so the podcast is you guys talking about the news? Like your guys' point of view on the news? I said, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. That is pretty much it.
Fifth grade is doing well by him.
Yeah, I love this time of I like this time of life. Getting to know our children.
It feels very transitional.
He's a different person entirely.
He is every day. He's becoming more.
Yes.
Of himself.
1000%.
It's like all of a sudden the veil is starting to be pulled back.
Yes.
The childhood veil is beginning to be pulled back.
That's right.
And he catches glimpses of the real world. And I think it's even more clarified or brought into more clarity because he has a little brother who is clearly behind the childhood veil.
Yes.
And so he's like, oh.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
So even if it was going to be gradual anyway, but I think there are times where it's starkly clear and in view because he's like, oh, he is 3. Yeah. And I'm having very different thoughts about the same situation.
Yes. I often look at them and I think of like you were just saying, behind the veil and in front of the veil of childhood, and I think it's just really fascinating. It's just really a blessing and a privilege to be a parent, to be able to take a peek behind, because it's been so long that I have felt anything close to something like innocence, or even if I am naive, it's been a long time since I felt naive. And so I can always rely on my children to some extent to remind me of how cynical I'm being about a specific situation, or like, because sometimes Langston will come to me with just some observation, and my immediate observation about like, wow, this was so funny. I don't know. It doesn't be mind blowing. The point is, it's not mind blowing, and my immediate reaction is just like, yeah, and I'm like, I remember my dad doing that. I remember my parents not giving a fuck about what I was talking about, like not one iota of a fuck, not even a particle of a fuck. And thinking back then, like, Jesus, they're dead inside. I mean, they don't think this is awesome. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with them? And like, now I totally am that parent. I'm like, he tells me things and I'm like, well, I mean, most of the time I'm just things like I could care less. I want to care, and occasionally, every once in a while, I can find some sort of thing to connect to, but no, man, his range of interest is different from mine.
It's pretty limited, but it's growing. I care.
No, I just mean different. I don't even mean super limited. I just mean incredibly different. Like the YouTube videos, for one. I don't get it. I don't understand what he's watching or why he finds it entertainment. It is a new thing that I have to frankly admit, like, I don't get it. I don't think I'll ever get it. I don't think I'm ever going to watch these YouTube videos about like games that you play and find some interest in them.
I care up until about 8 p.m. every day, and they know this. And I'm really fascinated by our youngest because everything is so new and he's so excited as he recalls things that happened earlier in the day and he can make the connection. So today at karate, after we dropped Langston off, I decided, okay, we're going to walk all the way down the block. We're going to take a long walk, stop at 7-Eleven, cross the street, walk all the way on the other side of Venice. We went into the Halloween store.
Okay.
And looked at stuff, and where Ellison was like, it was clearly overstimulation because he was like, oh my God, look at this. And he was like climbing on everything and then like, oh, look at this costume, look at this costume. It was really kind of funny. He was going crazy. And then we left and we stopped here and we saw people we knew and this and that. So tonight he was talking about Langston had been saying he wanted to be a werewolf for Halloween. And then even though we had clearly found a werewolf mask, Daniel put it on. We took a picture of it, showed it to Langston. All of a sudden, Ellison, like, it was the whole process. He was like, yeah, we can't find your werewolf costume. And then he was like, wait. He was like, we did find your werewolf mask. Daniel was wearing it. It's like, yeah. He was like catching up to himself, to his own memories. And then he said, we can go back. He said, we can, and then his face got so excited. He said, Mommy, we can go back with money. We're going to go back with your money. And we can buy it. And I was like, that's true. And it wasn't even that I didn't have the money today. I just told him that. That's great. That I wasn't going to buy it today. But he was he like put, all of a sudden it was like a light bulb moment. He had figured it out. All we had to do was go back with money. And then we could get this fucking werewolf mask. And it was just the joy he exuded, and like peace, solving the problem. Yes. He solved his own problem in his mind, and it's that all day for him right now. And it's beautiful to see it. It kind of fills me with a little bit of wonder every day.
That's great. That's a super optimistic and positive spin on that. I like that a lot. All right, so positivity is not what we do at the beginning of this podcast.
Or we do it at the beginning and then it kind of goes another direction.
But I do want to keep up one other thing that I like from our last podcast. Let's get the shout outs out of the way, okay?
Let's do that.
So very quickly this time, not a lot of spins on the last episode because it was 2 weeks and a lot of you were double dipping and spreading the word and just couldn't get enough of listening to the podcast. So that's fantastic. But shout out to Al Diddy.
Hey, Libra, hashtag Libra season.
Hashtag Libra season, yeah.
Shit, was that today?
His birthday?
Yeah. Or is it tomorrow?
I think it might be tomorrow because it didn't come up on Facebook.
Okay, it's tomorrow.
Yeah. My partner in crime with We Come From Bad News, there's another episode of that out as well that just came out. He also just came fresh off of hanging out with Wu-Tang in Atlanta. Wu-Tang. The White Pants Society, thank you guys for the respin. The John Effect podcast, and the Just Say Words podcast.
Thank y'all so much.
Just Say Words podcast, I do intend to have them on the podcast at some point. We have communicated, and it is in the ether. But even bigger shout out and just sort of announcement is that I did get the email. I got it, guys. The email came back, and my podcast idol, the black guy who tips, Rodimus Prime, you know him. Your favorite and mine, has agreed to be on the podcast. We have been on his podcast once. It blew us up. You know us because of it, probably. But the Black Guy Tips is going to be on the podcast. Soon come. We're going to schedule it. I wanted it to be probably tomorrow, but instead Mel reminded me that she's still in a play and that she can't do it on the weekend because she's in a play every weekend for the rest of this month. And that play is a very good play, which I had the privilege of seeing on Sunday during the preview weekend, and it was good. I enjoyed it very thoroughly. I'm not biased at all. As everyone knows, me and Mel do not like each other, so we do not.
He would never say that. He would never give me a compliment that wasn't warranted.
He would not support this play if I did not like it, and because it's not a play, actually, it's like. It
is a play.
It is a play, but for like people like
not
me,
not traditional format.
Yeah, it's like it's a variety. For me, it's a variety show because you can't get bored because it keeps moving from thing to thing.
It's an ensemble of scenes, monologues, movement pieces, and some multimedia
That's good, baby. That PR training is
And
coming in handy. That's good.
I wish I'd had some. And if you're in LA, it's called In Response, Year of the Woman.
Yes.
It's being produced by the Town Street Theater Company, which is one of the longest running African American theater companies here in LA.
It is.
We're in our 25th year, which honestly is not easy to do. And since Cheeto was elected almost 2 years ago, they have been doing installments with the theme of In Response, essentially to the current State of the Union. And so this is the third installment, and we are focusing on women and their stories, past, present, and future. And, come check it out if you're in LA. I'm sure we posted links to our Eventbrite where you can get tickets.
Yes.
Our official opening is this weekend, October 13th and 14th. Saturdays at 8 p.m., Sundays at 3. And after the Sunday show, there will be a talkback with the director and the cast. It is at the Stella Adler Theater in Hollywood. And come out, support some theater.
Yeah.
Some very timely and relevant theater.
That's right. Get your culture on and stand up to the Cheeto who just elected another sexual assaulter to the alleged sexual assaulter to the Supreme Court. So now him and Thomas Clarence can actually have a
Clarence Thomas.
Clarence, what did I just say?
Thomas Clarence.
Exactly. Clarence Thomas and excuse me.
Yeah, maybe they can be BFFs and
yeah,
compare
exactly.
notes.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So they can be the sexual assaulting wing of SCOTUS. Speaking of which, there's a lot to get to that we missed. So many things have happened.
All right, let's get to it.
Okay, so unfortunately, the first thing we got to acknowledge is that before this podcast, the last podcast, we were talking about the Kavanaugh hearings. We were discussing. It was like a, it was a soap opera. There were all these twists and turns. The minute you thought everything was in the bag, then these accusations come out, and then the Republicans seem like they're going to ignore them. But then another accusation comes out, and so they agreed to an FBI probe. So they do the FBI probe,
which is
it really a probe?
Say it's complete bullshit. What type of investigation doesn't question the two main people involved, i.e. Brett Kavanaugh and Dr. Christine Blasey Ford?
That's right.
And then there were also many corroborating witnesses that were not questioned.
That's right.
So
there was a man, in fact, who was a college roommate with Kavanaugh, who said that he offered to help and to give testimony in the investigation and was essentially ignored by the FBI. And it's very clear to most of us, I think, that Trump instructed the FBI to only limit the investigation to a very narrow thing, which is something of like, if you're thinking about regular police officers, right? You would never tell if the police chief said, hey, investigate this rich guy, but don't go in his house, only check his car, only check the trunk, only check the back left part of the trunk and no other parts of the trunk. And if there's nothing in there, then the car is clean. Then you'd be like, I think that dude is getting preferential treatment. I think that that is not a real investigation.
But even with that example, that's also saying, you know what, you don't even need to even to question the rich guy. Huh?
Absolutely.
So the hearing that wasn't an official, investigative questioning process, which, would imply that the FBI would also need to do their own line of questioning for both parties, and they did not do that. So I don't really see how anyone with a few brain cells could actually consider this to be legitimate. It
was clear from the beginning that the goal was to ram him through the confirmation process as quickly as possible, so that in exactly a mirror inversion of the stalling tactics that they deployed for Merrick Garland when Obama nominated his legitimate SCOTUS choice, and that was blocked because all of this without belaboring the point too much, is part of the GOP as the new representation of patriarchal white supremacist power is trying to enshrine a system, a coalition of power, of basically bastions, fortresses. I can't think of the exact word I'm looking for, but trying to shore up power in these institutions, so that even once the demographics have shifted to being essentially brown women, awesome, right? Once the demographics have shifted that way, they want to have these institutions enshrined so they can continue to have minority white male supremacy. It's the same deal that happened in South Africa. You know, South Africa was an African nation. I mean, full of black people, full of people who had been living there for hundreds of thousands of years. And then these white people show up. And then even after so-called colonialism or whatever, even in black controlled South Africa, you still have the system where white people control the vast majority of the wealth, and therefore political and socioeconomic influence in that money entails. So that's what they're trying to do. And what they call this is an epochal shift in the landscape of the Supreme Court. It's part of a long-term strategy to shore up power in these institutions of government, white male power, that can last for the next 30 years, so that by the time the world flips to what it's inevitably going to become, these guys will be dead anyway, and they don't give a fuck.
Nope.
They don't give a fuck. Kavanaugh basically cursed at America, half of America, at his job interview, and still got the job interview.
Cried, talk about how much he loved beer.
He cried. He said, "I still love beer. I still love beer."
Yeah, this is fucking outrageous.
Every black man in America, every black person in America, especially black men and women, was tearing their hair out in frustration, thinking, if I so much is break into a cold sweat in a job interview, I feel like I've lost it. If I so much is have a tick in my face while I'm answering a question, I feel like I'm definitely disqualified. So the idea that this man can show up for a job interview, because that's what it was. It wasn't a trial. It wasn't a legal trial, which is important for what happened later in terms of Trump having the swearing-in ceremony at the White House for Kavanaugh, and basically kissing his hind parts to say how sorry he felt for all the pain and suffering that Kavanaugh had endured in this process of being nominated to a lifetime power position for the rest of his life. Oh, I'm sorry that it was a traumatic ordeal for you. It must have been somewhat like being raped. Oh my God. I mean, because it wasn't a trial and Kavanaugh was not proven innocent, contrary to the president's his statements. He wasn't found innocent of anything. The assumption of innocence is the predecessor to due process. That's all. When we think you are guilty of a crime, when the blood is on your hands, we say, okay, he looks guilty as fuck, but he hasn't had due process. So we give him the benefit of the doubt that he is innocent until all the evidence is in and we can say yay or nay. But Kavanaugh was never submitted to that process. It just didn't happen. So now we're left with a situation of having a Supreme Court with two alleged sexual assaulters on it.
And it's just clearly become another partisan entity within our government. There's no denying that at any point, by Kavanaugh's own words about what he said about basically this witch hunt, it being payback for this and that with the Clintons and all this other jazz. I mean, he wasn't even pretending anymore. And so even though we already kind of knew that, now it's completely out in the open, and it is beginning to unravel whatever facade of legitimacy that the Supreme Court had.
That's right. Well, one twist in the story, and read into it what you will, but so Kavanaugh's law clerks, 4 women, is the first for the Supreme Court, but he's hired all women law clerks. I'm assuming out of some, I'm going to say guilt. I'm happy this is happening, and these women are, I'm going to assume, incredibly well qualified and deserve the positions So bravo for them, and I'm happy for them. But I'm just saying it's a little on the nose, bro. That's all I'm saying, Brett. Just a little on the nose there.
Certainly doesn't make me feel any more confident.
I'm saying
being there.
Exactly. I'm like, are we even certain that we feel comfortable with Brett being around these women without a thorough investigation of his, whatever. I guess after a couple of beers, who knows? All bets are off. So that's Kavanaugh, and I just want to say one thing. I don't think the Democrats let us down on this one. Okay, I think it's important that we say that because so often the Democrats. The narrative is, they fold under pressure. They don't have instincts, good political instincts. They're not aggressive enough. I disagree.
I agree with you on that. I think they really, almost completely along party lines, except for
that fucker
Congressman
from West
Manchin,
from
West Virginia. Yeah. He was the one Democrat who voted for his confirmation. Then we have Senator Murkowski, who abstained from voting.
Right.
And then we have old bitch Susan Collins. I'm going to just call her 53%. Because even though she felt like Dr. Ford was credible and this and that, she still voted for him. And this whole idea, I love how everyone's like, Dr. Ford is so credible, and I believe that she was assaulted, but I don't think Kavanaugh did it.
What?
Huh?
What?
So, there's only 2 dudes in the room. By Kavanaugh's own calendar, we could basically, even a child detective, could put together that on one of the events, that was the party she was talking about. And again, did they ever even question the other guy that was in the room?
Clearly not.
I think we saw a good show about his temperament. And so, again, the main thing is, I think, that has been very convoluted is less than saying we need to, press criminal charges against him and quote unquote ruin his life. I think at the very least, most people are saying, can we just not elect this motherfucker to the Supreme Court?
Right. That's the bigger point because we don't elect people to the Supreme Court. Like, can
we'll nominate and confirm him?
But yeah, and by that measure, I think that you're getting, at least for me, you're getting to the heart of why it was so triggering for me, is because it was Trump's appointee, and it was like Trump being elected all over again to some extent, in a minor way.
Right, it's just the smallest of margins.
Yes.
Essentially by other straight white evangelical men pushing 1,000%. That shit through.
And finally, because a white woman defected on her own people.
Went along with it.
Yes, defected on her own people.
That's why I'm gonna call her 53%.
53%. Amen to that.
Talk about somebody continuing to vote against their own...
Unbelievable.
Not even just their own interests, but essentially choosing their whiteness over their own personhood.
Yeah. You know what? I'm sorry. You know what? I speaking of white women, I just have to bring this up because I wanted to not put this in the shout outs. But, one particular white woman, I want to give some props because she listens to the podcast, and I think that's awesome. Erica, who reached out to us to actually offer to buy some local tickets to my wife's play and donate them to people.
That is so amazing.
That is so amazing. That is so cool. And you were definitely not the 53%.
No, I'm very thankful, and we'll be contacting you this week about that.
Absolutely. So I just want to point out there that my perspective is not informed by hate and by prejudice. I do not want to be mad at these white women. I do not want to believe that they are all universally racist. I want to believe that these women are, for the most part, only thinking in terms of, well, these are the kind of people I know, and I love the kind of people, coming from a limited...
Yeah, these are my brothers and my cousins and my uncles and my father and my grandfather. I thought you were going to shout out Taylor Swift. I thought you were going to transition to that white woman.
No, we're getting there. We're getting there, too. But that's a good point. Thank you. That's a good segue. We might as well go right there. We now live in a parallel reality where Kanye West... basically lives in the sunken place, and Taylor Swift is woke AF? Question mark? Not I'm not saying everything is everything. I don't have anything against Taylor Swift. I have zero against Taylor Swift. I have no investment in liking or disliking her. I'm a fan of Shake It Off. I think that is a catchy ass song. I don't know any other songs, but I'm sure she's great. But I was impressed that she broke what is apparently a career-long gag order on politics to support two Democrats in her home state of Tennessee over the Republican, much to the ire of apparently her somewhat conservative fan base.
Yep. I mean, she got enough money, so good on her. I think if we're going to talk about maybe celebrities trying to throw their support one way or the other, then we should bring up Bette Midler.
Oh, shit.
This fucking
That is
bitch.
a good counterpoint.
Okay. And I think it really shows the generational gap, the blind spot.
Yeah.
That a lot of women have, particularly white women, really. And I might say it has a lot to do with age and generation. Bette Midler tweeted, "Women are the N-word of the world. Raped, beaten, enslaved, married off, worked like dumb animals, denied education and inheritance, enduring the pain and danger of childbirth and life in silence for thousands of years. They are the most disrespected creatures on earth." So when people came for her ass, because it basically erased the lived experience of black women, and in addition to co-opting a slur and things that have represented hundreds of years of disenfranchisement and structural racism and just outright violence against people and their families and generational trauma. She says, "I gather I have offended many by my last tweet. Women are the etc." is the quote from Yoko Ono from 1972. Which I never forgot. Side note, that shit was problematic when Yoko fucking said it. Okay. It rang true then, and it rings true today, whether you like it or not. This is not about race. This is about the status of women, their history. So as people continue to come for her and basically just continue to say how problematic it was and wildly insensitive, as Mark Lamont Hill states, and historically inaccurate, and also how stubborn and condescending and deflective it is when people called her out on this statement, which really just exemplifies her white privilege. Finally, she did, I have to say, apologize. And she tweets, "The too brief investigation of allegations against Kavanaugh infuriated me. Angrily, I tweeted without thinking my choice of words would be enraging to black women who doubly suffer, both by being women and by being black. I am an ally and stand with you, always have, and I apologize." I think what I appreciate most is that she directly says, "I apologize."
Yes.
As opposed to just tiptoeing around everything with the "I'm sorry if I made you mad." She directly says, "I apologize." I mean, it doesn't completely take her off the hook for me, but because of the far-reaching effect that she and her words have towards millions of people all over the world, but at least she had the wherewithal to come back with what we now consider a solid apology.
Right on.
But again, it's it's like that same pussy hat women's march shit. Is like is feminine, like that hashtag feminism is for white women, because so often it becomes so short-sighted. And if your feminism doesn't include black women, particularly in this country, if not all over the world, what the fuck are you fighting for?
Well, there's Amanda Seales, who we love, of course, from Insecure.
Oh yes, talk about this shit.
I really don't know what's going on. I just saw this headline and I had to jump in there. But apparently white women are now kneeling in protest of rape culture following Brett Kavanaugh's appointment to the Supreme Court. So first of all, is that a thing? Have you heard about this?
I had heard about it. I had heard that it happened. I'm not sure at what event or venue they used this form of protest. But again, it is just another example of how short-sighted white feminists are many of the times, because where was y'all defending Kaepernick when he did it to protest police brutality and systemic injustice in this country?
Well, I also feel a way with the,
can y'all never not come up with something on your own?
I'm about to say, like, that's my thing.
Is it constantly co-opting something that black people are doing?
I'm a postmodernist. I believe in the free flow and exchange of signs and signifiers. I love all that shit. I get it. But like you said, Mel, it's like, but there is a distinct pattern. Like, when are black people ever taking your shit and like turning it into a symbol of our resistance? Except nigga. We did take nigga from you. We took nigga from you. We turned that into a symbol of resistance. We did do
kneeling in protest of police brutality is still happening. There's a guy, I don't know what team he's on, but he was one of the first dudes to kneel with Kaepernick in support and solidarity. He's continuing to do so. He did it at his first game. I believe he's a Miami Dolphin. Yep. Sorry, I don't know his name.
He does the sports.
So basically that shit is still happening.
Yep.
So even more reason why now is not the motherfucking time to use that same form of protest.
Agree. 100%.
Because you're not also using it to say, I protest police brutality.
Well,
it continues to muddy the waters and the discussion about what the fuck it's really about. And so then it's like, okay, are we going to say that is it during the anthem? You know what I mean? They made it like it was just about the anthem, as opposed to that being a signifier for what the protest is about. But is that not applicable here because the anthem is not playing?
No, the criticism is very specific, and you're right, and is inherent it's structural, because it's why that the specific problem that with kneeling is that the ambiguity, the false ambiguity about why they're kneeling. So adding confusion to it, right, is like a direct offense against that, a direct adding to that problem. And then also is the issue. Shit, lost my train of thought trying to catch up with you.
I mean, I think they know what I'm saying. They know what you would say.
No, 1,000%. I want to play what Amanda Seales said.
Okay. I love when she does her rants in her bonnet.
Hold up. White women are kneeling to protest rape culture? Lando, you heard about this?
This is to her cat named Lando.
Lando.
Oh, he's adorable.
Nah. Where the fuck y'all was at when we was kneeling about police brutality? Where the fuck y'all was at when Cap was, getting his ass handed to him because he was kneeling about police brutality? In general, where the fuck y'all been at? Where the fuck y'all was at when other white women were voting for Trump? Don't be out here kneeling for rape culture. Because the fact of the matter is, you don't even have true intersectionality when you talk about rape culture. A lot of these
exactly that whole thing again. Me too. This whole fucking
any of
me
these
too.
Women, Republicans that vote.
I was just gonna say again, the whole Me Too was started by a black woman, essentially to support survivors. So it's like, again, to ever have this conversation and basically jump off from the work. I mean, it's just America over and over again, to basically stand on the backs of black women and the blood, sweat, and tears that they have done and given their lives for, and then be like, well, now we're saying it's because of this. What? Stop it. Just fucking stop.
Yeah.
God damn it. Stop it. Stop it.
Yep.
Before you kneel for rape culture, go check your girl, fucking Bette Midler. Check her, or support your other girl, Taylor Swift. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot white women can do. Check your bitch, Suzanne Collins. Check her. How about you go kneel at her office? Okay, what the hell? God damn.
What Mel said.
And again, 53%. So there's, what's that mean?
47%.
47%.
Yeah.
Y'all's okay.
Yeah.
And again, when people get upset,
actually, we don't know those 47% okay. We just know 53 voted for Trump. We don't know how many voted.
Well,
for
even then, I'll throw you a bone.
Yeah,
because you didn't vote for Trump,
right?
Okay, and so I think if you get offended though, whenever we talk about white women or white feminism and the fuckery or the 53%, there's no reason for you to be offended. None. If you didn't do it, why the fuck you taking offense?
Right.
And the only real way you can do me a favor, okay, is to talk. Because every white woman knows a white woman who voted for Trump. Okay? Every fucking body. So if you want to help the movement, you want to be down, you want to be woke AF, any of that, talk to your peeps. Talk to your sister-in-law. Talk to your uncle's cousin's wife. Talk to the lady at the grocery store. Talk to the daycare. Talk to the lady at church. Talk to the lady at, you see and you know. So if you 47% getting upset about being even remotely lumped in with the 53%, get to work.
Boom.
If you don't got money like Taylor, then fucking use your voice.
That's right. It just occurred to me that the woman that I shouted out in the podcast may want to be private. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I'll
anonymous.
I'll hit her up. I'll censor her name out just in case. Put a beep.
Yeah, I like to do first names only on shit like that.
Yeah, I'll put a beep after on the segment.
But again, to get back, okay, so I know you don't have this pulled up, but this is a great, again, and then I think we should move on. Another great example about talking about the divide between the 47% and the 53% and white feminism. Mm-hmm. There was, can you go to Charles M. Blow?
Oh, yeah.
And there was a older white woman yelling at some Latina women who were speaking Spanish to each other. Sorry, Hispanic women. I don't know how they identify. And a young white woman said, "Bitch, what are you doing? Don't yell at them. Get out of their face. You're harassing them." And came for her. Came for Auntie. And you talking about an ally. This is how you do it. This is it. What we're about to play, if we can find it.
I'm sure we can. Is this it right here?
Yep.
Boom.
Please play that, because it's not often that I feel heartened. Is that the opposite of disheartened?
Harass people. Hey, get out of here now. You know what? Do not. I'm calling the cops. You know what? You leave these women alone. Get out. You don't go. You come from a generation. No, I do not. I have respect, and it does not matter. You don't harass people like this. You will lose your temper. All right. You know what? You will lose this. No.
She ran that bitch out the store. She literally walked that bitch out the door to the front. Said, "Bitch, get out of here."
That's dope. That's super dope.
She ran the bitch out.
That is super dope. You know why? Wow.
Get out. And she didn't get crazy. She didn't get ratchet. She didn't play into any stereotypes. She just said, "Get out of here." She was in her truth. She was grounded. She said what needed to be said.
It's funny that you even mentioned stereotype, because that is the new rhetoric that the Republicans are leaning into this as we approach the final month of the midterm election season, is that they're trying to portray Democrats as the angry mob. Trump has repeatedly said that the protesters who came to protest Kavanaugh's confirmation were paid screamers, language like this.
Oh, I love that. They were hysterical. They were clawing.
You see what they're trying to do? They're trying to with the Antifa thing and then anarchists. This is the tradition. Okay. You guys do not have to be political science, history, nerd buffs like for any particular reason, but this is exactly the type of language that was used by every far right wing government, like Mussolini, and strange enough, Hitler was actually not right wing. He was far left, but whatever. That's a whole other thing. But, no, he was far right with a weird twist of killing Jews. But anyways, and
other ethnic minorities.
And other ethnic minorities as well. But the point is that along with the niggers, the spics, and the Jews, there were always the anarchists. And so that is now what the Democrats are trying. They're trying to portray the Democrats are, is that we're somehow against law and order, as if Trump is somehow preserved. This is standard strongman propaganda.
But that's what he ran on. So they've got to stick with that line, because that's what fires everyone up. And
that's right. You're absolutely right.
A lot of states, today was their last day to register to vote. God, it just makes my stomach drop to think that people might be missing the deadline who would have wanted to vote.
Thank God voters.org came out and said that they got this incredible surge of voter registration. Really? Yeah, and she actually gave Taylor Swift some of the credit. Now all kinds of headlines are saying that Taylor Swift got 100,000 people register to vote, but it's actually a little bit more nuanced than that.
Sure.
There are clearly organizations on the ground that were doing that. But Taylor, speaking about it, probably did have some halo effect over the whole thing.
I mean, again, and that is kind of, I think, what is so fucking frustrating about, one of the many things that is so fucking frustrating about Kanye. Fucking get people to register to vote. Like,
yo, you just made...
Stop fucking talking to Trump and wearing your goddamn hat and talking about abolishing the 13th Amendment and basically being completely ahistorical and up your own fucking rich ass.
Boom. You just reminded me.
It's just like, get the fuck...
You just reminded me what I was going to say about the white women.
Say one fucking thing. Okay.
I just reminded me about the white women. The white women... the other thing they're doing is exactly what Kanye does, and what he was accused of doing, I think very rightly, by Chance the Rapper when he was on Joe Budden's podcast. He said that he thinks that Kanye is an expert at getting attention, but he gets attention to the detriment sometimes of those who need it more than himself. And it's like, that is the key.
Well, that's why... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying that's just the key issue we have with Kanye, is that once he used to use his power to say George Bush doesn't care about black people and use his celebrity to point at an actual problem, and now he seems to only use his celebrity to point at the fact that he's a free fucking thinker and you guys can't keep up with his fucking
and this
genius.
is why he and Trump get along, because they're both egomaniacs. And they can talk, they respect each other for that. How many times has Kanye literally said that?
It's truth. Psycho.
And what's crazy, at this point, I feel sorry for Kim.
Kim did not know what she was getting into.
And people, y'all can come for me.
She did not.
But this is the truth, and you can see this by her behavior. We used to think Kim was an attention whore. Pardon my language. I don't have anything better right now. We used to think
clout chaser. The kids
Kim
call it
was
now. Clout chaser,
an egomaniac.
Yeah.
But she seems very content to not be in the limelight. She's like, I got my kids.
Raising them beautiful
I got
black
my
babies.
family.
Raising her beautiful black babies. Yes.
And she is not all up in the videos. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's when she's out for anything, it's strategic.
She handling her business.
The
like
one time she did be out in the public, it was to try to get that woman or help get that woman released or just bring attention
which
to.
She's doing again. Have you heard?
No.
She's trying to get another death row dude or something.
So I just think you really see the conscious, and anyone who ever wanted, I mean, I'm not here for people who just cape for black men no matter what the fuck they do. No. AKA R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, or Kanye. Everyone wanted to come for Kim and how it was the Kardashians and the white people, Armenians to identify, can check the white box. How that was the downfall of Kanye and all. No, fuck that. Fuck that shit, okay? Mm-hmm. Clearly, what I see is that the Kardashians and the Jenners rise and fall by their own hands.
Absolutely.
And I think that is a foundational value of that family. And they stick together and they're like, hey, motherfucker, look at what they did to, what was his name? Lamar Odom. They're like, oh, motherfucker, you on drugs? Okay, you need to handle that shit because we're not going down with you.
That's right.
Kanye, you doing some fuck shit? Okay. I mean, hey, you want to be cool at the house with the babies? We'll tolerate it, but we not rolling with you. We're not going down that road. We're not feeling that. And at this point, she don't really have, it's not even like the other sisters or whatever where there's big makeup lines, quote unquote, on the line. Kim is like, let's leave me the fuck alone. I got robbed. I am not. Ever since she got robbed, she said, oh, I'm not with the gangster shit. She's like, I'm really not gangster.
That part.
She said, I'm really not about this life. She's clearly not about that life.
That's true.
She is not desperate for attention. She's grown. She has shifted. She is transitioning. She is maturing. And, so at this point, I do have a very small portion of my heart that extends sympathy towards her because really I don't know her and I don't know her story. Yeah. Maybe she does cape for him at home, but at least she's not on the internet and she's not all over the news, basically repeating the bullshit that he is saying.
No, she's obviously exerting the majority of effort in maintaining the dynamic at home. That's what I see. Like it makes stability. Speaking of Kanye, though,
there's more.
Oh, there's always more about Kanye. He's on a promotional run for Yandhi coming out in late November. So Lana Del Rey and Azalea Banks are not getting along because Azalea Banks, after Kanye posted some things, Kanye West posted a Trump supporting Instagram post. You guys remember it just came out. And Lana Del Rey basically posted, something essentially, I don't. I can't even find what she said.
Okay, so Kanye went on a Trump supporting Instagram post, and Lana basically was like, "Oh, you could have been the greatest rapper," or something like to that effect.
But first, Lana criticized Kanye.
That's what I just said.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
She was saying that Kanye could have been the best rapper.
No, she was saying Banks. That was the Banks.
Before.
Oh yeah, okay.
She had said Kanye was basically misusing all of the clout that he had earned. So then Azalea came for Lana and said, "I won't not fuck you the fuck up."
That's not what Azalea said. No, Azalea said, "Don't use Kanye for your own vapid attempts to seem politically aware when there is so much more bootleg witchcraft you could be doing to try and take down 45. Kanye is not your enemy or the enemy." She goes, "Wow, okay, Lana, this would be cute if you were consistent with your outrage and refused to collab with A$AP Rocky, who has physically assaulted women too. To me, this just looks like the typical white woman using a tactic, I think is what she meant, using a weakened target to pretend to be an ally, especially because you know that a white woman versus a black male will result in an immediate victory for the white woman due to societal circumstance." That's a long way to say that. "You wouldn't dare challenge a black woman on her opinion because you don't have that much of a social prejudice in place between women as there is between sexes. Don't use Kanye for your own vapid attempts, blah, blah, blah." I already said that. So anyway, she goes at him, and then Lana comes back, and she says, Banks, you want to read it?
"You could have been the greatest female rapper alive, but you blew it. Don't take it out on the only person who had your back."
And she follows it up with, "I won't not fuck you the fuck up.
Period." That's my favorite part.
Which I think is the hardest shit I've ever heard.
I didn't know that was anything Lana Del Rey would say.
I now want to go look up Lana Del Rey
and listen
to some Lana Del Rey now.
I'm really tired of Azalea saying anything.
Unbelievable.
Because every time she comes for somebody else, it's like, but bitch, what you doing? What are you doing besides talking shit and getting yourself in shit and and just creating drama or being involved in drama
and being hella anti-black low key? Like, why you always talking about she don't fuck with niggas, but that's why she fuck with her white boys because niggas don't have she says stuff like this and now she's supporting Kanye clearly when Kanye is breaking bad and now I feel like she's positioning herself to be the rap Candace Owens. And I'm just not here for any of this shit because I ain't heard a single Azalea Banks song that I have liked since her first shit came out. Since her first shit came out.
I don't really listen to her either. But
she could have been dope. She legitimately could have been dope. But I also am here for white girls who do stand for the culture and who are not culture vultures. Not apologize. I'm down for people not apologizing for shit they are not guilty of. Like if you a hit dog hollers. If like Mel was saying, if you wanted 47% of the white women out there who did not vote for Trump, then we are not talking about you when we are criticizing white women. Thank God you did not the wrong thing, if not the right thing. But when one of the 45%, if somebody comes at you and attacks you or tries to humiliate you or shame you, you have every motherfucking right. You tell them Big Brother and Yazzie told you it's fine. You have the right to stand up for yourself and say whatever the fuck you want to say because no one has the right to bring you down just because. You know what I'm saying? That's not a thing that I stand for. So I love this. I love her saying in the most polite fucking way I can imagine it, "I won't not fuck you." I mean, that's some when the police bring you in and they like, "Did you fuck her up?" You be like, I did not fuck her up.
You know what it is? I think about that statement too. It just shows that they have history because then and so when she says don't take it out on the only person who had your back. The whole "I won't not fuck you the fuck up" is basically like, you think you know me, bitch, and you trying to come for me, but you don't really know me. Or I know you. You know what I mean? There's so much subtext in that exchange.
Truth. Real truth.
And so yeah, I mean, hey.
Well, Lana Del Rey just became interesting to me. Now I want to find out what she is all about because I don't know
him quite that far, but I see why a person would feel that way.
Yeah. Here's some more catching hell. Ben Carson and Stacey Dash are headlining a Black Leadership Summit in DC.
Great. Love that's happening.
What is going on? This scares me because I have relatives that I'm genetically related to on Facebook who during the Kavanaugh hearing were saying shit like he was being attacked and that the Democrats were trying to attack black people, black Southern rural people who I don't understand, whose recent ancestors were enslaved, who do not see the forest for the fucking trees. So when I read this at first, I wanted to dismiss it out of hand, but I kind of low-key feel like the fucking black conservative wing is becoming a real thing. Like, these motherfuckers, these coons is peeling off into an actual faction. I think they are becoming a real thing, and that soon we're going to have the moral authority of black America is going to be split down some imaginary line where these coons are talking about, well, coming in, the white folk took us niggas from Africa and gave us civilization in Jesus, and then they let us make Yeezys, and that's why we're all millionaires. And why can't y'all just be happy? I feel like this is the next argument that's coming, because Kanye is fitting to have lunch with Trump in a couple of days, weeks. I don't know when.
I think it might be tomorrow.
I mean, and why? I mean,
why?
They're going to talk about Chicago in the same week that Trump comes out talking about that Chicago should go to stop and frisk.
This is a good whip point for, let's just transition. I know we're catching hell and we'll probably go back to it, but in a moment of not catching hell, the police officer who shot and killed Laquan McDonald was convicted of murder.
That is a good
first
thing. That is a great thing.
In a long time, and I believe the first in Chicago.
That is a great thing. You know what? I let's keep on that for a minute, because what was also amazing, there was some let's give you some positive. There was also another one that I posted on our page that was actually amazing. There was a black Pennsylvania man was acquitted of killing a racist white guy. Okay. Now here's some shit, y'all. Y'all gotta
wait. What?
Yeah, I know. 30-year-old Steven Spencer was shooting pool with some local folk back in July 2017 in his hometown of Pittston, Pennsylvania. After he successfully whooped some white guy's ass, he did the gentlemanly thing and extended a handshake to the aforementioned whooped ass. Thing is, the whooped ass belonged to 32-year-old Christopher Williams, wasn't interested in sportsmanship. So it's not totally clear what happened next, but a kerfuffle of some sort ensued, and the melanin deficient. This is all from Bossip. This is why. Okay, I just understand this is not
the melanin.
Yeah, I just want to be very clear. This is coming from Bossip. This is not my interpretation. And the melanin deficient whooped ass and his friends allegedly spouted off on some racist epithets at Spencer. Once the fight went outside, Spencer started swinging that iron and shot Williams dead in front of everyone. When the police arrived, Spencer didn't even try to hide it. He told officers, "Here is the gun. I shot him." Fast forward to this past Friday, Spencer was acquitted of homicide, aggravated assault, and terroristic threats by a jury of his peers. After only 4 hours of deliberation, it was determined that Spencer was only acting in self-defense against the handful of racist men who was planning to attack them. God damn it. God bless you, Pennsylvania. Just, God.
I'm speechless.
This is the first. Listen, hold on.
I can't believe it.
This is the first time in my life. The first time. Listen.
Wait, what?
I think it pisses God off if you walk by the color purple in a field and don't notice it.
That's all I'm saying.
You'll take from your mama, you'll even take the limbs off of a tree.
All of that.
I'm gonna kick your ass for messing with me.
I just want everyone to just feel what I'm feeling. I have never. The Second Amendment is like, it's a wonderful theory. I'm always talking about white libertarian friends who are like, you know what, the Second Amendment protects you from all kinds of things, and you want a gun in this situation, and the tyranny of the government, all this shit. And I'm always like, I don't know what the fuck you were talking about, honky, because I love you with all my heart. But if a black man shoots anyone besides another black man or a Latino with a pistol, he is getting a fucking gas chamber. There's no. If he shoots a police officer, are you out of your fucking mind? But this is the first time I've ever heard of the Second Amendment being upheld for a black man who shot a white man and said, "Here is the gun. I did it."
I'm perplexed.
I did it. Pennsylvania.
This is like you need that soundbite from A Time to Kill. He's like, yes, I killed him, and I hope he burned in hell.
I'm getting it next time. I'm getting it for next time. I'm getting it for next time.
Wow.
So that happened, man. I mean, on the flip side, though, I mean, before you get too happy about that, that motherfucker who shot Tamir Rice just got another job.
Oh, yeah, they hired him, but he needed another chance. Too bad a child didn't need a second chance.
Yeah, you know who else could, exactly.
That would have been
use a second chance.
Yeah,
yes,
the
Tamir
little 12-year-old could have used a second
Rice.
chance, too. Somebody could have been like, you know what? Don't play with those guns and take that little orange thing off. Don't hang out on the street, little black child.
Unbelievable.
Let's give you a chance to live a full adult to an adult life. That would have been nice.
How about that?
That would have been nice.
Wouldn't that have been something? Unbelievable. And meanwhile, the police officer that shot Tamir Rice, his record sucked even before he shot Tamir Rice. But whatever the fuck.
That it did. Yes, he probably shouldn't have been on that police force. But
right, who cares? Who cares, right? You know. Who cares? He's dead. Who cares? You guys got Kavanaugh. You're good. So there's a lot to talk about. So much stuff. Nikki Haley resigned as UN ambassador.
I mean, you know what's sad about that? She was actually trying to be like, do her job.
Yeah, I think
be slightly impartial, and she just wasn't. She wasn't the the yes woman.
Yeah.
For Trump. Trump is completely trying to blow up the UN.
Yes, he doesn't
and
give a fuck.
Nikki Haley wasn't trying to do all that, and so she got to go.
But I tell you what she is trying to do. She is clearly trying to become president of something. I think it might be the U.S. because she is the first person to leave without some shady shit. Without like Trump talking shit about her, or without her having been ousted or whatever. She peaced out. And she's left with her dignity intact. So this is kind of a first. I can't remember anybody who's left the Trump administration without being under the shadow of some scandal, or Trump was talking shit for like 3 months up until they decide, mysteriously to finally quit. So that's something. I thought that was interesting to see what's going to become of her political career. And that she did seem to be one of the adults in the room.
What's this about? What you got about Elon Musk?
Oh, so Elon Musk actually followed through on his superhero promise to donate money to Flint schools to replace water fountains and filtration system. And he donated.
God, that's so good.
He donated about $500,000. So that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's outrageous. We're over here electing alleged sexual assaulters to the Supreme Court. And the people of Flint, Michigan still don't have safe drinking water from their pipes from the city.
Look, I'm not mad at it. Thank God, Elon, do your damn thing.
That's some goodness.
It's some goodness, but it is kind of now the thing. Elon just recently had some issues where he got in trouble with the SEC, so he had to step down as chairman of his company. And
but he's still chairman of the board.
No, he's not chairman of the board anymore. He's just CEO.
Oh, the other way around.
Yeah, and but he was smoking weed with Joe Rogan and doing a whole bunch of, questionable shit as a CEO.
Spit out my wine.
Just a whole bunch of questionable shit.
No, he is CEO. He's not chairman of the board.
Yeah, he's CEO. That's what I said.
Right.
Yeah. But he had to step down as chairman of the board.
Right.
He used to be both.
Yes, I understand.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but he was smoking. He's been doing a lot of things.
So since he stepped down.
Up until the run up, it all kind of happened at the same time, as a matter of fact. So it is now also, I think it's kind of the thing now, if you a decent rich person, that you gotta do some Bruce Wayne shit and give money. So I mean,
hey, they need it. So
yeah, I'm glad he's doing it, but it is also at the same time, I don't want to live in a world where the only time kids get safe drinking water is when a billionaire decides that it makes them look good.
Seriously, what if Bill Gates didn't have a foundation? What the fuck would be happening around the world?
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I'm all for rich people being good people. I'm just saying, let's not ever get into the mentality where we think that is the way that it's supposed to be. We're just supposed to wait for rich people to save us, because that shit is that's the Middle Ages. That's the Dark Ages. That's medieval. Anyway.
Lord.
So yeah, that happened. Cat Williams is in jail, so there's that.
Again?
Yeah, he's in jail after being sued by his limo driver, and he he attacked a limo driver with his dog. Apparently, Cat, what the fuck, man?
Okay, I don't.
Why, Cat?
I can't.
Why, Cat?
I
Oh,
can't.
Bill Cosby. You might have heard that Bill Cosby was slapped with a chicken patty in jail.
I did not.
That
hear
is fake news. He didn't actually get slapped in the face with a chicken patty. What is not fake news is that he is already appealing to void his sentence and have a retrial because apparently prison does not agree with his constitution.
As he should. I mean, anybody with money should appeal their sentence.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I think he's actually asking just to void his sentence, which is I don't even know that. I don't think that's a thing.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. George Taliaferro, the first black player drafted by the NFL, died at the age of 91.
Wow.
That's significant, especially in the age of Kaepernick. You think about it, it's like it's only been one person ago since black people were even allowed to play in the NFL, and now they're being told to shut the fuck up and do their job when they protest the killing of black people. So that's something. There's a study that came out that said that black men are out churching the other races. That means we are showing up for the Lord, but we are still less religious than black women. So there's that. Cardi B doubled down on her altercation with Nicki Minaj. She said she wasn't going to run into her at the grocery store, so she had to, she had on site, bitch. On site means on site. What do you want me to tell you? So there's that. What else? What else is going on? Lots of good things going on. Lots of bad things going on, guys. We can go on. Anything else you want to talk about?
Yes, I have one other thing.
Okay.
Banksy.
Oh, that's a good one. That was a fun one.
Banksy.
That was a fun one.
So Banksy is the mysterious street artist, muralist. He's been in the world for 10 years now.
Yeah.
Popping up in different cities, painting or spray painting subversive messages and murals and pieces on, walls.
Mm-hmm.
And, he had a film, documentary, Exit from the Gift Shop. There's been documentaries about him. He's actually had gallery shows where his pieces sell for millions of dollars to celebrities. It's a big thing.
Yes.
But we don't know his identity. He has a team that helps keep him shrouded in mystery, which adds to, because, particularly he's a British artist, mm-hmm. and particularly there, the street art that he does is illegal. Mm-hmm. So he is wanted, basically. He's a known artist, but they don't like what he's doing.
Yeah.
So one of his famous pieces, you should pull this up. Actually, I love the Banksy. If you go to Banksy's Instagram, because he kind of has some cards in between to really explain what he did. So one of his most famous pieces is "Girl with a Red Balloon," and it recently was being auctioned by Sotheby's.
Yep.
And it went for, I want to say, over $1 million. But years fucking earlier, this motherfucker built a shredder into the frame that the painting was then placed in.
That's right.
So that if it ever went up for auction at the exact moment that it was sold to somebody for some ridiculous amount of money, it would essentially self-destruct in front of them, which it did.
When it looks something like this.
He says, that's the sound of the shredder. A few years ago, he says he secretly built the shredder into the frame of this for this painting.
Can you imagine how much time you have on your hands?
I mean, how much time does he have for any of his pieces?
I mean, but
all of his pieces take incredible planning.
I'm going to start getting in 100, 150, 200,000. I have already 200,000.
I mean, we got people on their phones bidding for people.
This is so beautiful also because you just
high stakes here, high stakes.
Yeah. And
everyone is clapping, they're happy.
The most rare.
I mean, they hadn't even, it immediately started shredding.
Look at their
Look
faces.
at this dude's face. Wait, where's my fave? And look at them taking it off the wall. Like, what can we do?
Sorry, can I have your attention?
But so I was wondering. I had questions.
Oh, that's great.
The person who technically bought it, do they still own it?
Oh yeah, and you know what?
Can they just gonna try to put it back together?
No.
Just keep the shredded pieces?
Yeah, because now it's of even more distinct value.
Exactly. It was
He
literally
can't
like
beat
performance
himself.
art.
Yeah, he can't beat himself.
Now
it's just more art.
if they could just piece it together and hang the shredded pieces.
Oh, what's even worse is that McDonald's got into it. Hold on. Let me see if I can
Involved?
find it. No.
What? What do you mean?
Copying.
Oh. Oh, man.
You know, of course they had. I mean, like, as soon as you have any idea, there's going to be somebody.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, come on. This is the
what I
cultural
did
living.
like about the Banksy thing is when he posted it on his Instagram, his quote was, "The urge to destroy is also a creative urge." And he quotes Picasso with that. And I just have to say, I've always been a fan.
I dig it.
Of him, and I support him and his team and all that they do to create art that makes us think and pushes boundaries and challenges our views and our elitism surrounding art. That brought quite a smile to my face this week. So I kind of definitely wanted to shout out Banksy and his genius in that realm.
Absolutely. All right. Well,
challenging the elite art world.
Let's end out on one more shout out, or one more big up. This one is a Me Too one. Rapper Missone. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's Mysonne. Missone. Smacks down rape culture at the Kavanaugh protest before he got arrested.
Is he a rapper?
He is a rapper. He's not a rapper that I'm familiar with, but
he broke it down. Let's play that.
So let's play this video that he.
I didn't see the video. I saw his speech at the protest.
Oh, I haven't seen that, but this is what he released.
Okay.
After his release,
wearing a hat that says "Soul" SOUL, not for sale.
Not for sale.
Do not be afraid to evolve and grow. Don't let anybody tell you that there's anything wrong with evolving and growing. You're gonna have people like, yo, you changed. Yeah, you're growing, you're evolving. You're supposed to change. You know, you're supposed to be moving forward. You're supposed to be progressing. The mind state that you have as a child is not the same mind state you have as an adult. You're going to have friends that you outgrow, and that's part of life. And you still love them, but you outgrow them, and you continue to move on because they want the old you that was stagnated, the one that wanted to do the same bullshit that wasn't getting you nowhere. They stuck there. And you pray for them, and you try to move them on with you, but when you don't, you got to continue to grow. So don't be afraid to grow. Don't let nobody tell you that change is bad. Change when you're moving forward is good. If you got a good moral compass and you continue to grow, you good. Don't let nobody try to stagnate you or keep you somewhere because they scared to grow. You got to tell them, one, I'm moving on. And
all right.
Yeah, I mean, to give some context, he was at a Brett Kavanaugh confirmation protest. And he spoke out, basically saying, hey, look, dudes, we all need to also be out here on the front lines protesting this confirmation, this possible confirmation at that time, this nomination, because as he continues to expound in that video, in his evolution and growth, he realizes that a lot of men can look back and say, yes, I did participate in toxic masculinity. I did harm a woman. You have to be able to look back and admit to yourself, I harmed a woman. But I'm not that person anymore. I apologize. And to show and to try and prove that I am a different person, I'm not just going to think that to myself. I'm going to put my body out here on this line to say I am a different person. I don't subscribe to that type of behavior anymore. And I adamantly oppose electing anyone who participated in that type of toxic masculinity and caused harm to a woman to be elected to this highest court in our country. And so he expands on that more. But that was the video I saw where he literally was like, yo, we did some shit. It was fucked up. You know, you need to own up to it and say and show that you have moved on and evolved as a new person, a better person. specifically, who clearly says, I do not harm women.
Yeah.
And I don't support anyone who does.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. I mean, yeah, I got nothing to add to that. I do want to shout out some of the people that joined us on the Facebook
Who is
Live.
laughing at, I hope you set the stage in fire.
In stage in
That's
fire.
a good comment. Don't laugh.
That thing is funny, but okay.
He's complimenting me on my show.
Oh, in fire. Okay, my bad. Sorry. You're right. I missed wrong context. My bad. Anyway.
Thank you for that.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Woosie, appreciate you for joining. Ryan, Al, Tamara, Turner Hall, we love you too. Stevan, anytime you want to hang out is a gas. Come on through. We're in LA.
Somebody want to hang out with us?
Yeah, I know her from college. Come on through. Yeah, come on through and hang out with us.
Let us know when you in LA.
Greg Lupu, what's up, yo? We'll see you at the what was the name of that fest again? Out the one we keep missing, but we'll come one day, I promise. Anyway, Verde, that's what it is. Valverde.
Yeah, let's put it on the calendar ahead of time.
We definitely coming through.
Thank
Anyways,
y'all for being patient with us. I am trying to do my damn thing, and it's new for all of us. So, in addition to my family, I shouted y'all out in the program. Did they print it?
Oh, maybe
it's on the website. In my bio, I specifically say thank you to my family and Yaze, Langston, and Ellison for the support and their patience, because I know y'all niggas was tripping. Mommy been gone like 2-3 times a week at night. Last week I was gone. I was out the house every night. And me
and the boys bonded.
I know that y'all have been feeling some kind of way, and y'all are taking it really well, and I appreciate the support, and I'm glad y'all are not totally tripping, or if you are, you're keeping it to yourself, because I'm gonna do it anyway, but I really don't want to feel bad about it, and I certainly don't want to come home to drama. And isn't it better when mommy's happy? Yeah. I appreciate you coming out to the show and bringing your homie, and yes, if anyone's in LA, try to come out. It's not just me. It's a bunch of very talented actors and actresses talking about things that are relevant. And, I think that's it.
Come out to the Stella Adler Theater if you're in LA.
Saturdays at 8, Sundays at 3.
Whole month of October. All right, guys. Until next time, stay woke. But do remember, you are entitled to rest. So, peace.
Bye.